Welcome to another video here. Today's lesson is going to be very simple. It's probably something that you guys have seen before, but we're gonna review it again, I guess. We have this linear equation, y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, what is that? So when I give you an equation like this, something like this, let's just say I have y is equal to 3x plus 2. Okay, what does that equation mean? Well, it means two things. You could have a table where you have an x and you have a y. Okay, so when x is 0, and I'm just coming up with some numbers here. When x is 0, let's figure out what y is, and it's very simple. When x is 0, I can tell you that y is 2. And why? Why is it 2? Well, when I plug in if I have y is equal to 3x plus 2, and I plug in a 0 into x right there, because I'm saying that x is 0, then this is what I get. 3 times 0 plus 2. Yeah, 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is just 2. So that's how I get that 0. What if x is 1? Well, if x is 1, then let's see what we get for y. We get 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is going to be 5. So when x is 1, y is going to be 5. Let's try another number. What happens when y is equal to 2, or when x is equal to 2? This is what I will get. I'll get 6 there, and then I finally get 8 there. And I want you guys to realize something that is very important when you're doing linear equations here, and that is that this number, I don't know if you guys notice, but it's increasing by 3 every time. It's increasing by 3. So I'm going to guess, just based on what I know, that the next number is going to be 11. Now let's go ahead and check that. Let's see if it's actually 11. So I have 3 times 3 plus 2. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is definitely going to be 11. Okay? So how did I know that it was increasing by 3? Well, it's simple, because I look at the slope. And what is the slope? This number right here. That number right there tells you how much something is increasing. Okay, so it's going to be increasing by 3 because the slope is 3. Okay, so we have this equation here, y is equal to mx plus b. And we have to identify what's the slope and what is b. First of all, this m right here, it represents the slope. And this b right here, it represents the y-intercept. Okay? And we're going to understand what that means a little more later on when we do more lessons. We'll explain that a little more. But today's lesson, I just want you to do something very, very simple. Okay? I want you to identify what the slope is. And that's very simple, guys. Very simple. For example, if I give you this equation right here, the slope, as you can see on the graph, it's the number that is next to the letter x. Okay? So if you have a number in front of that x, that is the slope. If I look at this equation right here, y is equal to 8 over 3x minus 3, I can clearly identify the slope. The slope in this case is 8 over 3. And that is my answer. The slope in this case, 7 over 5. is this number that is next to the x. That's how simple that is, guys. Very simple. All right. We'll go to the assignment in a little bit. But now let's talk about this right here. Finding the slope of a line using the rise over the run. Okay, so this M right here, if we're given a graph, we can use this equation here called the rise over the run. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so in order to understand that, you have to take a look at the graph here. First of all, we're given here 2 points. We're given 1 point here and 1 point there. I'm gonna draw a triangle here. Your goal is to do a triangle between those 2 points. A triangle looks like this. Okay, kind of like a step. Alright, so I want you to realize something in here. Let me choose the colors that I picked here. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna discover what the rise is. I'm gonna draw a triangle here. That is my rise, and then my run is this right here. And then I'm just gonna count, guys. We got 1 and 2. So the rise is 2. And then the run, let's count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the run is going to be 4. So what is the slope in this case then? The slope is going to be the rise, which is 2, over the run, and the run in this case is 4. Now we can simplify that to 2 over 4 is the same as 1 over 2. And this right here is my slope. Now we could have picked another one. Let's just say I didn't go that way. What if I go the other way around? What if I do run like this? Let me do the other color. I run that way, and then I go up that way. Well, it's the same thing, guys. The same thing. Because this is still 4. And this is still 2. So the rise is still 2 and the run is still going to be 4. What if I picked another point? Okay. What if I don't pick those 2 points that are given to me, but I picked this point and this point? Okay, you can still find the rise over the run. Notice something here, guys. The rise, that's the run, and then I have the rise right there. The rise in this case is 1, the run in this case is 2. So the rise over the run is going to be 1 over 2. Well, let me tell you what, that's what we got actually. 2 over 4 is the same as 1 over 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the assignment here. Here's your assignment, and this is what you need to do. I'm going to do the first 6 problems, and you're going to do 7 through 12. That's it, guys. 7 through 12, very simple. You're going to write all those problems down. You're going to take a picture, and you're going to send it to me through Canvas. And then I'm going to give you points for that. And you're going to get extra credit, and you're going to raise your grade. Okay? So I'm going to do 1 through 6. Very simple. Okay, so what is the slope? Find the slope of each line. This is very simple. The slope is the number that is next to the x. So this number here is the one next to the x. This right here is the slope, right there. So the slope is 2. And I would love you guys to write that word, the slope is, and you say what the answer is. The slope is 2 in this case. Number 2, the slope is 1/4. Okay, that is our slope. Now look at this one here. We have a negative slope. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. The slope is -2/3. So those are the easy problems for you to do. You know, that didn't take me more than a minute. And it's probably going to take you a minute as well to do. So guys, I'm just giving you easy stuff so you can do them. All right. Let's do number 4. So again, we have our rise. This is way too big. I'm going to decrease the width here. So remember guys, to find the slope here, and I'm going to write it as an m, the slope of this formula is the rise over the run. Now we need to figure out what that is in this problem. The rise in this problem is 1. The run in this problem is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the rise, one more time guys, the rise is 1 over the run, which is 5. And this right here is my final answer. Now something that I forgot to talk about is that the slope could actually be negative. And when do we know when it's negative? Well, you have to look at the graph and be able to tell if it's negative or positive. This is how you can tell. When you look at a graph, from left to right, so this is my left, and you look at it from left to right, you have to ask yourself, is your graph increasing or decreasing? So when I look at this graph, I'm going to pick this point here. When it's going to the right, is it increasing or is it decreasing? Well, when you look at the graph, you can tell that it's increasing. So if the graph is increasing, that means that the slope is positive. Okay? That means that the slope is positive. When you look at it from left to right, if the graph is increasing, then the slope is positive. Just take a look at this one here. We have the rise over the run. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is the same. 1/5 as my rise over the run. Now, when I look at it from left to right, this graph seems to be increasing. So this is going to be a positive slope. So I'm just going to leave it just like that. Now we're gonna take a look at number 6, and that's when it's gonna change a little bit. But before we do that, I wanna talk about negative slopes a little more. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. I can tell just by looking at this graph that the slope is going to be negative. Why? Because when I look at it from left, remember this is my left, and we're looking at it from left to right. When I look at the graph from left to right, it's actually going down. Okay, that means that the graph it's decreasing. So if the graph is decreasing, that means that the slope is going to be negative. Now let's go ahead and find the rise over the run. The rise over the run is going to be, we can use those 2 points right there. We have a rise, we got 1, 2, and 3 there. And then we have a run, we're gonna go to the other point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so my rise, remember it's rise over the run. So the rise over the run in this case is going to be 3, the rise, over my run, which is 6. Now I could actually simplify that. 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2. Now, since the graph is decreasing, so pay attention to this, since the graph is decreasing, then the slope has to be negative. So this right here is going to be a negative slope because the graph is decreasing when you look at it from left to right. If I take a look at this round, I could tell as well that this graph is decreasing. Why? Because when I look at it from left to right, it seems to me that it's decreasing. Okay, so it's decreasing there, so the slope has to be negative. Now let's go ahead and find the rise over the run on this one here. The rise is 1 on this one, and the run seems to be 4. So rise over the run, and it's going to be a negative slope because it's decreasing. It's going down when you look at it from left to right. So let's go back to that final problem that we were doing, 1 through 6. This one is simple as well. The rise over the run. So rise over the run seems to be 1 over 1, which is the same as 1. But remember guys, it's important that you know this. When you look at this graph from left to right, so remember left to right is that way. This is the left, this is my right. When you look at the graph from left to right, is it increasing or decreasing? Since the graph seems to be going down, then this is going to be decreasing. So my answer is not just +1, it's actually going to be -1. That is my final answer for this. Alright, so I did a 1 through 6 for you. Now your goal is to do 7 through 12. I want you guys to work on those 6 problems, write down your answers, and then submit them online. I'll see you guys on the next video.